Hello, this is Sandro Forte again. We're still on the telephone path. Now we're talking about step number 3, the message. Now, here's another mistake that advisors make, indeed anybody in the sales professions. They tend to make the mistake of creating this elevator pitch that goes on for ages, distracts the client, turns them off, and inevitably leads to a number of objections. I'm going to suggest that the very best elevator pitch starts with a hook, and that hook, whether it's conscious or subconscious, has to invite the client, the prospective client, to ask a question or to at least wonder what's coming next. Now, for me in my business, I don't know when I'm calling somebody for the first time, even if I have a lot of information from the referring individual as to whether they are wealthy, struggling in life. I don't really know enough to suggest that I only work with business owners, for example, or I only work with high net worth individuals, because there is a risk that I remove myself from the idea that I could be valuable to them. So one of the catch-all phrases that I tend to find most successful is simply to say something like, I specialize in helping people become financially more successful. And the reason why that works is because even if somebody is a billionaire or somebody is just starting out on the road to their financial future, everybody, in my experience, wants to become financially more successful because it's relative at the end of the day. So I specialize in helping people become financially more successful. And Joe mentioned that financial success might be something that you'd be interested in having a conversation about, at least to understand some of the ways that we've been able to help Joe, and we could therefore maybe share some of those thoughts with you as well. Again, as I mentioned before, on a strictly no obligation and confidential basis. Is financial success something that would be worth discussing? That's my message in a nutshell. I don't want to speak too much. I want this simple elevator pitch, one line with a hook, inviting somebody to say, tell me more. How does that work? What's involved? How do you go through the process? I want to create a bit of intrigue. I want to generate a question or two, because that then is going to give me permission to move to step number 5, which is something I call the hotel question. And the hotel question is the invitation to meet with me. Now, I've again deliberately left out step number 4 because step number 4 hopefully will not occur. Now, I should just point out that by the time you get to part 3 of the telephone path, well, you've probably expended about 15 seconds of time, that's all. The entire telephone path, if successful, should take no more than about 30 seconds. And if you get to step number 4, which is the objection, then probably about 45 seconds. Because in these videos, you're also going to learn how to handle an objection on every single occasion. So, step number 1 is the apology and the introduction. Step number 2 is humanize. That's bringing the third person into the equation. The link to the message, which is number 3. Think about that one-line elevator pitch and then move skillfully to number 5, which is the hotel question. Prerequisite, caveat here, if there is an objection, then of course step number 4, which we'll cover in another video, will help you to deal with those issues before returning to the telephone path and moving on to step number 5.